For the headlines, this is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. It's one of the biggest leaks in U.S. military history. More than 90,000 internal records from U.S. military actions in Afghanistan over the past 6 years have been published by the whistleblower website WikiLeaks. The documents provide a devastating portrait of the war in Afghanistan, revealing how coalition forces have killed hundreds of civilians in unreported incidents, how a secret Black Ops Special Forces unit hunts down targets for assassination or detention without trial, how Taliban attacks have soared, and how Pakistan is fueling the insurgency. WikiLeaks made the files available this week to the New York Times, The Guardian of London, and the German weekly Der Spiegel, who agreed simultaneously to publish their reports on Sunday. The documents, most of them classified as secret, give a blow-by-blow account of the war in Afghanistan between January 2004 and December of 2009. The findings include detailed reports on 144 attacks on civilians by coalition forces, ranging from the shootings of individuals to massive airstrikes, resulting in hundreds of casualties, how a secret Black Ops Special Forces unit named Task Force 373 hunts down targets for assassination or detention without trial. The so-called kill or capture list of senior Taliban and al-Qaeda figures includes more than 2,000 names and is known as JPEL, the Joint Prioritized Effects List. The files also reveal how coalition forces are increasingly using deadly Reaper drones to hunt and kill Taliban targets by remote control from a base in Nevada. The records reveal there's been a steep rise in Taliban attacks on coalition troops, and that the U.S. covered up evidence that the Taliban have acquired deadly surface-to-air missiles. In addition, the Taliban have caused growing carnage with a massive escalation on their roadside bombing campaign, which has killed more than 2,000 civilians to date. And the files reveal NATO commanders fear neighboring Pakistan and Iran are fueling the insurgency. According to the New York Times, the record suggests Pakistan allows representatives of its spy service to meet directly with the Taliban in secret strategy sessions to organize networks of militant groups that fight against American soldiers in Afghanistan, and even hatch plots to assassinate Afghan leaders. The founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, spoke about the files in an interview with independent journalist Stephen Gray for Channel 4 in Britain.
We have released 91,000 reports about Afghanistan from the United States military. The reports cover the period from 2004 to 2010 in minute detail. They cover essentially all U.S. military operations with the exclusion of some special forces operations and the CIA. It covers each civilian kill, each military kill that has been internally reported, where it happened and when it happened. It is the most comprehensive history of a war to have ever been published during the course of a war.
And how significant is that?
There doesn't seem to be an equivalent disclosure made during the course of a war, during the time where it might have some effect. The nearest equivalent is perhaps the Pentagon Papers released by Daniel Ellsberg in the 70s. That was about 10,000 pages, but already that was about 4 years old by the time it was released.
And how many pages in your report?
There's about 200,000 pages in this material. Pentagon Papers was about 10,000 pages.
What can you tell us about the source of this material? How do you know it's true?
Well, we know from looking at the material correlating with the public record, speaking to confidential military sources, that this material is true and accurate. As to the specific source, obviously we can't comment.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, the White House has condemned the publication of the files by WikiLeaks. In a statement, National Security Advisor Jim Jones said, quote, "We strongly condemn the disclosure of classified information by individuals and organizations which puts the lives of U.S. and partner service members at risk and threatens our national security." Jones went on to say, quote, "The documents posted by WikiLeaks reportedly cover a period of time from January 2004 to December 2009. On December 1st, 2009, President Obama announced a new strategy with a substantial increase in resources for Afghanistan, an increased focus on al-Qaeda and Taliban safe havens in Pakistan, precisely because of the grave situation that had developed over several years, he said. Well, today we're spending the hour on this unprecedented release of documents during the war with a round table of guests. Here in our New York studio, we're joined by Rick Rowley, independent journalist with Big Noise Films, just returned from a 6-week trip to Afghanistan, where he was embedded with the Marine Division in Marja. Joining us from Washington, D.C. is Matthew Ho, former Marine Corps captain in Iraq and former State Department official in Afghanistan, the highest-level U.S. official to resign in protest over the Afghan war. Also in D.C., Gareth Porter, investigative historian and journalist specializing in U.S. national security policy. But first we go to London to speak to independent journalist Stephen Gray, who has spent the past few years reporting from Afghanistan and recently interviewed WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange about this massive leak. He's author of Operation Snakebite, the explosive true story of an Afghan desert siege. And we'll go to Daniel Ellsberg in Mexico, perhaps the country's most famous whistleblower, who leaked the secret history of the Vietnam War that many are comparing this massive document leak to, 92,000 documents. Stephen Gray, let's go to you first. You spent a good deal of this weekend with Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks founder who is responsible for this leak. First, talk about its significance and what he understood he was doing when he released these documents.
Well, I think this is part of WikiLeaks' strategy. I mean, it's a snowball that started with fairly minor disclosures into something that is, absolutely game-changing. I mean, I think this leak is phenomenal. It's almost an act of sort of cyber war journalism. I mean, this has completely compromised the U.S. military's secret system. It's called SIPRNet. It'll probably cost them $1 billion, I think, to fix it. And this is only the beginning. I mean, if what we're hearing is true, there are thousands and thousands of more documents to come out here. But, the actual contents are also really significant. And I've been spending the weekend as well looking through as far as you can in a short period of time, these 90,000 documents, looking at mentions of these task forces, the Special Forces task forces. I actually wrote about this Task Force 373 before, but it's really the extent of it. I mean, some of the other people you've got on today have also seen firsthand, incidences like the death of civilians, but it's really in the totality of it all that it becomes shocking. It's the fact that you've got absolutely everything here. Okay.